There's not been not one thing that's turned out well that I've turned down, not in my whole career. So that encourages me, and I have no reason to give to myself to not trust my choice of script. Been told by a lot of people there's something really special you have right now, and there's something much more special that you can create out of this. And I kind of agree. What is the point of seeking mediocrity? I don't think the makers will be interested, to be honest with you. Uh, because me and Sanaya won't have any problems. I think we're yeah we so and that was actually the role that put me on the map. My acting style is a little the way it is. I don't know if there is one, but I like to do things the way they're done in real life. You know.
कई बार ऐसी पूरी जिंदगी जो अपने परिवार ਨੂੰ नहीं समझ पाਉਂਦੇ.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Table Talk with Joe. Before we move ahead, here's a quick reminder to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Well, a big guest this evening as well. Joining me today is Barun Sobti. He first became famous as Arnav Singh Raizada in Is Pyar Ko Kya Naam Doon. Had legions of fans who continue to ask if he is going to come back in a sequel, but he's come in different roles, and his latest as Garundi in Kohhra has wowed the audience once again. Intense roles. What does it take to be a private person in a public profession? What does it take to be a waiting and a watching actor who has bided his time to get such phenomenal roles? Well, listen to what Barun has to say. Hi, Barun. Thanks so much for doing this. But before I go ahead, I have a very different question. I want to know about this your Punjabi in Kohhra.
कई बार ऐसी पूरी जिंदगी जो अपने परिवार ਨੂੰ नहीं समझ पाਉਂਦੇ.
Was it a made in Sobti family Punjabi, or did you have to learn and tweak this for the show?
No, it's a. I mean, I don't know Sukti or Sethi because my maternal side is Sethis, so it comes from a mix of both. I used to speak with my grandparents a lot in Punjabi because they're from the other side, from Pakistan, and so there was a lot of Punjabi spoken there, of course, and still is. So I learned from them, and I didn't speak Punjabi for a very long time. It was a welcome homecoming kind of a thing for me.
Yeah, it's much better than mine. I mean, I'm from Punjab, and I keep trying to go back to the roots, but वो गेड़ी ली सी कदी?
Oh, बड़ी गेड़ी मारी है, लेकिन I think you have to have the will, right? I think कि क्या कहते हैं? I really had this I think bent towards learning. It's a fascinating language, is what I always felt. So I really kind of had a liking towards the language. I really wanted to learn it anyway.
So I don't know what you mean. I say this about myself, that it's more like growing up, and you go back to your roots, and so there is more and more that I want to speak the language than I wanted to when I was younger, and I didn't think it was cool enough. So I don't know about.
But now you lost that time. Now the point is then. Yeah, now it's difficult to go back. That's a good language.
But we try.
Yeah.
Anyway, much congratulations for your show. Kohhra has been such a huge success, and it's not just commercial. It's, as I said, it's critical acclaim as well. What do you think has been behind the show standing out the way it has, Barun?
A lot of people ask me this, but I don't know if, and I've said this the same thing to, we can't put a finger on it, but I think a lot of it has to do with the writing of the show. I really feel, I've always been a huge advocate of good writing, good or bad for that matter. I mean, the writers don't get a lot of flack when the writing is bad because the front runners are the actors, of course, but they don't get a lot of credit as well when things don't take off, when they do, in fact, the way Kohhra did. So yeah, I think the writers, the showrunner, the creators of the show, I think they did a fabulous job. I mean, they just right, not more, not less, just correct. So I think that I think that's having a check on the pulse of the nation's creativity. Maybe I don't know.
What does it feel like when you're working in the middle of such a stellar cast, where even your supporting cast is such a phenomenal cast?
अपने पति नु अपने बच्चे नु धोखा दे के अपने यार नाल लगी जा बचाने ता तेरे ते.
It is so heartening, I can't tell you. I remember this. So I've had this. So my acting style is a little the way it is. I don't know if there is one, but I like to do things the way they're done in real life. You know, speak naturally, act naturally as much as you can. So in that scenario, what happens is sometimes you forget to enunciate, and Indian filmmakers are really, really big on actors enunciating and stuff like that. So I remember when me and Suvinder sir we were doing a scene where both of these guys sit down and they're drinking and sharing their woes and stuff like that. And so I spoke the way I spoke. Suvinder Paji, he's far more subtler than I am as well. And I was like, this is gonna cut hoga, and obviously everyone's gonna come rushing to us, and the sound recorders, the director, everyone's gonna be like, "Hey, guy, if you can speak up a little, enunciate a little and stuff like that." Everyone came in and they were like, "That was brilliant." And I was like, "This is exactly where we belong, all of us." I mean, the category of actors. I was so happy. It was just everyone just fit in so brilliantly. I mean, the actors. I mean, it was such a joy performing in this show. Well, from A to Z. I don't remember having a bad day.
So, I did speak with Suvinder ji, in fact, just last week. And I was asking him about your relationship, both of yours relationship, that kind of comes across as well on the show. And he actually told me that, I think we were a little bit more similar in our personal lives as well. The fact that, we're a little reticent, we're a little quieter, that, we kind of vibe together. Do you agree?
Right. Yeah, we didn't. Like we spoke, if we were the both of us, let's say if everyone was hanging out, we had a drink, stuff like that. That's the time we spoke, we found out more. I was a little more curious about his story because mine is a little bit out there kind of a thing. So I wanted to find out things. And he had fabulous stories to tell. But he's right. We both were shy, reticent. All we spoke about was the craft. There was a respectful smile here and there kind of a thing. But we were just so involved in the work, and I think I said this to someone. I was saying like the products, the content that we create. Sometimes you have forces that are pulling against each other, so it does not come out the way it's supposed to come out. But here, everyone was pushing towards the exact same direction because all of us, I think, knew where the show was going, and me and Suvinder Pali were the same thing, I think.
So, Punjab police, it has this reputation. But police in India has a reputation, but Punjab police per se has its own reputation. It's not just efficiency, but, as Balbir Singh says, you get those 2-3 chances. Otherwise, you're always trying to catch up. So what did you actually do to prepare for this?
Like when you watch the show, there was a few things that were a little too scandalizing, the exact same thing happened to me when I read it. So I was like, this is not possible. And what I was told was the show was phenomenally well researched and stuff like that. So I think I'll go to resource of information was Gunjit Chopra, the guy who wrote the show, because he'd done like 2 years of research on. He's researched Punjab all of his life, and he's written some phenomenal things. But particularly for this show and cops and all that, so all of our questions were always directed towards him. Apart from that, we did a few workshops, ice breaking, asking questions and things like that. And there was a deliberate effort not to find out the behavior, body language, how much into their work and stuff like that the cops are, because we agreed that we didn't want to bring the unidimensional cop into this character. We wanted to bring in whatever my perception of this character was. Like people get stuck. People call me and in interviews and stuff. They're like, you're playing cop here, you're playing cop there, you're playing cop here. The point is not that. The point is cop is not everything. Like, you're a journalist. That does not mean you're only a journalist. There's so many other facets to your life, the personality that you are. So the idea was to bring this guy with all his flaws without trying to learn or see somebody else. That was the idea from the beginning.
Did you expect it to be the kind of success that it's received? Did you expect that success?
No. What I thought was that because the writing was pretty flawless, what I thought was that if we can achieve around 80% of what's written, I think we did better than that. There will be a niche audience for this, but whoever watches, I knew that this obviously gonna be a word of mouth kind of a thing, but because that's in my luck. Things whatever I do, they spread word of mouth, and after that, but it will spread like this wildfire. We had no one had any idea, not only me.
Now I'm gonna move on or move back, whichever way you look at it, from Kohhra right now, and speak a little bit about your journey, Barun. You have waited, watched. You give the impression of not having jumped any cues, not having really jumped in. That waiting game that has actually worked out very well for you. But I want to really know from you what that waiting game was like.
It's the same for every human being. We become these images of people, the images that people like eventually, how they want to place it, whatever the story may be. But sitting back home the first day, second day, third day, it's like the law of marginal propensity. It gets tougher the days, as the number of days go on. But the idea was to build something that you can be proud of. So you always. I think any person in that position will be manifesting the whole time, trying to make the right decisions. So yes, there was a lot and there's like even now, I am the kind of person who wants to go from show to. I'm not the kind of person who will go from okay, let's do this down, let's do this. I'm trying to build something really something that I can be proud of. So even after Kohhra's come out, I've got a truckloads of options, but I'm taking my time. I want to see how things go. There's a few things that are settling in. Every sensible person, every person that I respect, their advice to me has been the same that's in my heart. They're like, you should wait and watch. This is something that is really special. If you go ahead and do something that you will not be proud of after this, after waiting for so long, it's not going to be worth it. So yeah, but the wait is difficult. To answer your question, the wait is difficult. The wait is, I crib a lot. I behave like a baby sometimes, sometimes I do wish to forget the a longer arc of things. I want to do things short term, but eventually I think patience is a really necessary thing if you want to make an admirable career in acting, is what I feel.
I call it the hustling game, You hustle,
It is.
hustle.
Yeah, you're right. After to a point, sometimes it's just hustling at the beginning of your career. Sometimes things turn out good. You have people's respect. It's about then waiting. A few difficult things like saying no becomes really difficult. Some people understand, some people don't. There's a lot. It's an amalgamation of a lot of things.
I actually told my publisher, I said, next book, can I please write the hustling game on, a hustler's life? She wasn't very entertained, but it is a thing. But
yeah.
Barun, tell me, do you regret not taking any role?
Oh, that's the weirdest part actually. Now, what happens is that kids, when they start walking, they're cheered on by their parents so much, and that encourages them to start walking and running and stuff of that sort. Now, that's been another thing. Now, there's not one thing that's turned out well that I've turned down. Not in my whole career, and I must have turned down I don't know what number of projects, and nothing has ever turned out well. So that encourages me, and I have no reason to give to myself to not trust my choice of scripts.
So, from starting, we all start at a point where we're looking for work to a point where work is coming to you, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot of it.
So now, are you actively seeking roles, or roles are seeking you?
No, see, I'll tell you what. I was never at a loss of work. I'll tell you, since I finished this Pyar Ko Kya Naam Doon, I always had work. I always had options coming in. Things went from bad to worse to nightmarish sometimes, but there was always work coming in. It was just not the kind I wanted to pick up. So there's never been any loss of work. It was always happening. It's still, and now again, the mediums differ, the scale of the things that are being offered to you differ. So yeah, that's happening. But now I'm being really, really careful. I've been told by a lot of people there's something really special you have right now, and there's something much more special that you can create out of this. And I kind of agree. What is the point of seeking mediocrity?
Fair enough. But now that you mentioned this Pyar Ko Kya Naam Doon, it's been you've come a long way from that Arnab Singh Raizada. Would you ever go back to that role?
As in, you seeing that
as a sequel? I interviewed Gul once, and that entire show was just about, can you get Barun and Sanaya back? Can you get Barun and Sanaya? Can you do a sequel? I literally had to turn off the comments on that show and apologize to Gul, but that's the reality still.
I don't think the makers will be interested, to be honest with you, because me and Sanaya won't have any problems. I think and that was actually the role that put me on the map. I don't know how much of it now is going to be relevant now. We're like a decade and 3 years later, but I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, because there is still do you still have that crazy fan following coming from that show?
Right, yeah, I do. There's there's so many people people obviously they want to congratulate your life and career and stuff like that. So, but there's such a large number of people who, when they're leaving after, appreciate you. They're like, yeah, I love you in that show. It's so good. So yeah, people remember me from that show.
But okay, so let me ask you, what was the that stage? What was the weirdest male fan request that you got?
We never got them actually. So there's the weird thing about Indian television. I'm sure that's the weird thing about television daily shows. The thing is that we were working so, like we until this show ended, we had no idea how it was doing outside, what kind of im impression people had. It was like we were, yeah, we were. The labor laws were really defied in that show. Every Indian show, we used to work like 12 hours every day. Me and Sanaya were on in every scene, and 7 days a week. Like we were given like 2 days in a month, kind of a thing, and that time was spent with either family or a party or getaway kind of a thing. We had no idea what was happening outside.
Things have moved anyway from that time. It was television. Now you're onto the OTT scene. How has that kind of opened up job role descriptions in a sense? I see a lot more emphasis on how the women roles have evolved on OTT platforms. Do you think it's the same for male roles as well?
Yeah, see, that's what the thing is. The thing is that that's why you'll see so many surprising actors coming up suddenly, and you'll be like, "Yo, this guy's been on the scene for so long, or this girl has been on the scene for so long, but where they've been?" That's happened because of the introduction of the right format of storytelling. The long format is the perfect format of storytelling with respect to telling stories, not individualistic tales. If you want to tell an individualistic tale, you write a movie. So that's a 1 person or 2 person story can be justified. Usually movies are about events, so that's because there's not much you can do or say. Television goes on forever, so that becomes difficult. It's based on TRP ratings and stuff of that sort. So that's also, there's no right study for that. So whatever character lengthy in whatever week the TRP increased, they start writing about that character. Long format is the only thing where you get to explore multiple tracks. You can actually justify them. You can justify characters, and you can write difficult things because there's no censorship. So that is and it might sound like not much, but that's a lot. That's a lot for a story to be told and for a character to be written well.
You speak about the fact that there's no censorship, but there is this other whole culture that's evolved, right? And the whole banning thing, the whole of flagging down an actor for a line that he may have said, getting on the case of a maker. Does that bother you, or do you take that into consideration when you're looking at a role, that it could lead to some controversy because it's so quick on controversies these days?
To be honest with you, I don't care about any controversy or anything like that. Right? Because I feel if I'm doing something, I try not to do things that I feel are wrong, because I try to make an argument with my own self. If I can just like a lot of that kind of stuff I'm signing up for now. I mean, or we're in conversation with, I make an argument with myself, and if I can argue against the motion and for the motion, I have my reasons. I'll go ahead and do it. I'll not think, oh, there's going to be a controversy, because you can't make a career like that. You can't make a career. This is so negatively driven. You're setting yourself up for failure in case you're worried about if someone's going to say something about my work. You have to be worried about what you're doing, what you understand, comprehend to be right. Your own set of values, not other people's.
Has the Indian audience smartened up, become wiser?
I wouldn't know, but there's a lot of smart people out there. And I always thought that we're 140 crores. And how many people does it take to make a movie a hit? I don't know, 50 lakhs? 50 lakh people watch a movie at whatever ticket prices, it becomes a hit. That does not mean that's the whole nation or the comprehension of it. I mean, or that's the pulse of the nation. That's a very small number. Television is a very large number. The people that watch television is a very, very big number. I think there's a new wave of people, that maybe 1% of the country, I don't know, that watching Hollywood shows first and were confused between movies and television, have now taken on to watching OTT. And this was not explored, of course, because there was no medium. These people might have been equally sensible. I think the faculties of people in India have not been sensible now. I think that they've been sensible forever. We just look at where we go around, and the smaller samples, but we are a big country. There's a large number of people to be that can watch and like the content. So I don't think they become intelligent. I think the makers are now realizing how intelligent the audience has always been.
The social media world, with all of this comes the whole, you've got to show yourself, you've got to be out there, you've got to promote yourself, and you've always, pretty much come out as a very private person. Privacy's been important to you, but have things changed? Do you have to now, do what, go with the flow in a sense?
Go with the flow is always a good idea, I think. Times will change, and change is the only constant. So you have to adapt, or if you don't adapt, you stop existing. But adapting, yes, I understand, but I can still ration it. The only thing that's changed is I do a couple extra days of photo shoots in a month, and that's it.
What about, do you worry that this is going to impinge on your family? You've got 2 kids. Does that worry you? Everybody's got a phone now, right? I mean, everybody can upload. Everybody can just get into your business.
Right. It's not a beast you can take by the horns. It exists. It's a fact. You have to coexist with the telephone, with the social media. Better idea is try to do things that you don't have to hide.
Fair enough. Yeah. Is there more pressure on you? Okay, so let me say this differently. When you didn't have your children, you could decide on your roles, sit down, wait it out. And when you have children, there's that added stress that you've got to have a stable livelihood. You've got 2 children, you've got to look after them. Has that fatherhood thing started happening this way?
See, there are 2 aspects to it. If the need be, my wife can very well take care of my lifestyle along with my kids and hers as well. But at the same time, and I think it's I think there's a hormonal conflict that happens when you become a father as well, and you start worrying about try to give them let's try to do better and stuff like that. So yeah, that's happening. That's kicked in a while back, but that also has to be dealt with the argument of let's look at the long term instead of the short term. That's how I've always thought, and thankfully things have worked out for me exactly the way I would have wanted. So I think I'm gonna stick with my gut and my understanding and look at the long term. But the pressure's kicked in. You're pointed right.
Does your daughter understand now that you're an actor, you're a star on television?
Yeah. I don't know about the star part, but she understands that I'm an actor because so we live in Bombay, and any show that comes out, there's a huge hoardings of it put up and stuff like that. So not only she, but all of her friends also understand that I'm an actor, and unfortunately are telling their parents that they want to be actors when they grow up because they want to be on those big posters and stuff like that, which is
you are going to have a lot of friends. The kids' parents' friends that we all try and run away from. You're going to have a lot of them on your door very soon, Barun.
Right, yeah, there is, but see, I don't think I will ever have sound advice for anyone ever.
Fair enough. Okay, a final question. Would you be interested in being like the typical Bollywood hero in a Bollywood movie? I know you've said somewhere you don't like song and dance.
Right. It's not about liking, honestly. I respect that as I'm not saying this just to make it up. I really respect that as a form of art, both singing and dancing. And I really wish I was good at it. I'm thinking I'm really not good at that. And I've actually made a career out of capitalizing on things that you're good at. And that's what I really believe in life. You should always do what you're good at because it keeps you happy, keeps the people around you happy. You do a job that you can do well. You're a part of the whole societal machinery that keeps rolling only because everyone is doing a job that they're good at that keeps them happy. So it's not that I look down upon it. I actually really look up to it. It's just that I'm not good enough for it. Maybe someday I can train and
I never say never,
Sorry?
Are you in a good phase? Do you think you're in a good phase? Are you in a happy phase? Are you in a satisfied phase? What would you define your phase as?
People tell me that I'm in a very good phase and stuff like that. But at the same time, I'm in a space where I really want to start working. But as I said, I'm being really cautious of what I want to pick up and do. And with respect to happiness, I'm in a great space because I'm taking care of 2 kids back home. So I'm pretty happy.
Is there work-life balance?
Yes, I mean, there is a work-life balance, especially when compared to an actor's life. Right now, there is. I usually try to keep the balance because there's only 2 things that I do: family and work.
Is that your ecosystem?
Yeah, there's not much I need to be. I'm a simple guy. That's enough.
Have you attended your daughter's PTM? Only then will I agree that you have work-life balance.
Oh yeah, all of them.
Oh really?
Yeah. We attend because we changed the school, so we had to attend a few orientations and stuff like that. We do PTMs. So these schools are really good these days. So there's a lot of general meetings, when the teachers really want to find out how the parents are, what the kind of things that they would the parents would like take the teachers take care of and stuff like that. So yeah, that happens a lot. It's not my scene, but it happens.
No, I'm going to take that line out and take the rest and send it to my husband.
No, it's not my scene because I'm not a very social person. That's why. So you will not. I don't do a lot of parties, social gatherings either. It takes me a while to get going with people.
So how do you, in the industry that you were in, how do you marry your persona with what is the demand of the industry outside of work?
I don't, honestly. I'm not very keen on impressing people and stuff of that sort. Especially when it comes to my kids, I want to gather the information that I can. I'm not the kind who want to impress people with, any kind of thing. I mean, I'm actually a little indifferent in that way.
So what's coming next? What's coming next?
There's two shows that I've finished already. One's called Bavandar. It's a coming of age drama. It's pretty. It's also it's a fun and a pretty serious show with respect to the times that we live in and the relevance of the subject. And one's Donali. It's a period drama.
Your roles are getting intense and more intense. So is there a little bit of break from that?
But which one? Both of them are really intense.
Oh, there is no break from them.
Yeah, both of them are really intense. The like Bavandar starts off as a light-hearted, nice people, middle class kind of thing show, but what it's related with later is really, really intense.
All right, I'm going to leave it at that. And Varun, wishing you all the very, very best. It's fabulous to speak with you and to get you out of that shell for just that little bit of time. It's not. If I was in your seat, I'd be putting the phone down on me myself. So I get that.
Okay.
No, it's not. But like I said, it's also a hustler's life here. It's our job, and it's not easy. And some days we also want to bang our heads, but and since
I, to be honest with you, I'm the kind of person who respects everyone's job, beliefs, faith. It might not come across like that, but I'm a very, very sensitive person. It's not that I'm an insensitive person. I'm just shy, reticent, as Savinder Pari said.
No, it was fabulous. Yes, I'm going to send you that. What he said about you as well, but it's really been wonderful to chat with you. You do come across as what you say you are exactly that, so there are potentials, but all the best to you, your family, and good luck with the parents coming to your doors very soon, and there's a star there. Thanks, Barun.
All the best to you too, Jyotsna. Thank you so much for having me.